My name is Kwame, and I have seen things no man should ever see. I tell you this story not to scare you, but to warn you. In the kingdom of Samburu, there lived a princess more beautiful than the rising sun. Her name was Princess Zera, and her beauty was known across the land. Her skin glowed like the moon, her lips were as red as the hibiscus flower, and her eyes held something dark, something no man could understand. Many men had come to ask for her hand in marriage, warriors, traders, even great kings. But none of them ever returned. At first, the people whispered. Perhaps they left the kingdom. Then they wondered. Maybe they were not worthy of her. But as the years passed after Suta vanished, fear crept into their hearts. She is cursed, the elders said. She is no woman, she is a spirit who devours men. I did not believe in such things. Or, perhaps, I did not want to. But then, my brother, Jomo, disappeared. Jomo was my only brother, the bravest man I knew. He was strong, fearless, and full of life. When he heard about Princess Zera, he laughed. A woman cannot scare me, he had said. I will win her heart and bring home a queen. He left for the palace and never returned. Days turned to weeks. I searched for him, but there was no sign, no message, no word from the palace. That was when I knew something was wrong. So, I made a promise. I will find out what happened to Jomo. Even if it means facing the deadly princess myself. I packed lightly, a small bag of food, my dagger, and the courage of a man who had nothing left to lose. The road to the palace was long, winding through thick forest and across rivers where crocodiles lay waiting. Travelers along the way warned me. Turn back, they said. No man who enters that palace returns. But my heart would not be swayed. I had to know the truth. When I arrived at the great gates of the palace, guards met me with cold stares. I told them I was there to seek the princess's hand. They laughed but led me inside. The palace was grand, filled with golden statues, silken curtains, and a strange, eerie silence. And then, I saw her. Princess Zera. She was even more beautiful than the stories. Her smile was warm, her voice soft, but her eyes, they hid something dangerous. Welcome, brave Kwame, she said, her lips curving into a smile. You have come seeking my hand, haven't you? I nodded, though my heart pounded in my chest. I was now inside her web, and I had to be careful. That night, I could not sleep. Something about the palace felt unnatural. The halls were too quiet, the air too thick with the scent of strange herbs. I lay on my bed, but my instincts kept me awake. And then, I heard footsteps. Soft, careful, deadly. I pretended to be asleep, my hand gripping my dagger beneath the covers. The door creaked open, and I felt a shadow loom over me. A soft breath. A hint of perfume. And then, the glint of a knife. In a flash, I rolled away, jumping to my feet, my own blade drawn. Princess Zera stood before me, her face calm, her eyes glowing in the moonlight. You are different, she whispered. Most men never wake up. I knew then that all the stories were true. She was no princess looking for love. She was a predator, and I was her next meal. But I would not die like the others. The next few days were a game of survival. She watched me closely, and I watched her in return. I noticed small details, how she never ate in front of others, how the palace was eerily empty of servants, and how a strange red liquid filled the goblets in the great hall. She spoke in riddles, as if testing me, searching for weakness. Do you believe in fate, Kwame? She asked one evening. That some men are born only to perish. Only cowards believe such things, I replied. A man carves his own path. She laughed, but there was something in her eyes, a flicker of amusement, or perhaps, hunger. Each night, I fortified my door. I kept my blade close. And in the daytime, I searched. Then, I found it. Deep in the palace, hidden behind thick red curtains, I discovered a room filled with bones. The bones of the men before me. Skulls stacked neatly in a corner. Weapons rusted with time. And in the center, my brother's necklace lay atop a pile of broken dreams. Rage burned inside me. I had seen enough. That night, as Princess Zera prepared another of her tricks, I turned the game on her. Using the knowledge I had gained, I tricked her into drinking a sleeping potion meant for me. As she fell into a deep slumber, I ran. Through dark corridors. Past the guards. Into the night. I did not stop until I reached the village, where I told the elders everything. The kingdom rose in anger. Warriors stormed the palace. And when they arrived, they found her still asleep, a monster exposed. But it was not enough. The elders demanded justice. The people wanted revenge. The king, ashamed of his daughter's dark secret, declared her punishment, banishment to the forbidden forest, where spirits roamed and no mortal returned. For days, the villagers watched as she was led away, chains binding her hands, her eyes dark with unspoken words. She never begged, never pleaded. She only looked back once, her lips parting in a final whisper, "You are not as different as you think, Kwame." Her voice haunted me long after she was gone. And so, the deadly princess was no more. But the darkness she carried did not die. Some say she still roams the forbidden forest, her laughter drifting through the trees, calling out to foolish men who dare to seek her. I returned home, carrying my brother's necklace, but not his life. The pain of loss remained, but so did the lesson: not everything beautiful is safe. To this day, the elders tell the story of Princess Zera, the woman who lured men to their doom. And whenever a traveler passes through Zamburo, they are warned. Beware of beauty that glows too brightly. For sometimes, it hides the darkest of souls.